Superhero fans may finally have their dreams come true with Steven Spielberg attached to produce a DC Comics film called Blackhawks. Kim, I don't know how familiar you are.
I'm not familiar
with the
at all.
Blackhawks. This is a very interesting choice. The Blackhawks are basically a 1940s war comic book. They're led by a man called Blackhawk, and his group is called the Blackhawks because he likes to name them after himself.
Wow, that is rude. That is selfish.
Yeah, it's very, very clever. Very clever comics, right? But basically, they're a bunch of fighter pilots who fight enemies. In the time of the 40s, they fought the Germans and all kinds of things. The reason why you really haven't heard of them now is just because war comics are not as popular.
I remember Wonder Woman had roots in World War II. Is this a similar vein, or do you think the cinematic version might do something similar? I know Wonder Woman the movie was set with World War I. This is very similar because a lot of DC comics of the time of the 1940s, the Golden Age, were tied to World War II. I mean, there is several covers where Superman punches Hitler and he holds hands with soldiers and all kinds of stuff like that. But this is very interesting because World War II is not a territory that is unfamiliar to Steven Spielberg. And there is the possibility that he might direct this movie as well as producing it. You know, Blackhawks is a very interesting choice, I think, for him because Blackhawks is a DC Comics superhero property that he could adapt basically in any way that he sees. Really? Because I was reading about it, and what they seemed to be doing was having each member of the Blackhawks team represent an allied country.
Yes.
How would they adapt that to not World War II?
Well, to be honest with you, I think if you were to bring this into the modern day, I think you would just make each member of the Blackhawks, I would say, representative. Like make them of a different race, you know, a different gender, represent a different country. You don't have to specifically tie this movie to World War II, but I think if they do tie this movie to World War II, and this might have been what is so appealing to Steven Spielberg, you could have Wonder Woman guest star in this movie because she's around during this time, which leads into a very interesting movie that makes it very different from Wonder Woman, yet something really new.
That could be cool.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do we want to see the Steven Spielberg DC Comics movie?
Well, here's what I was thinking when I was reading the press release. Is this their Guardians of the Galaxy? Because Guardians of the Galaxy was not a well-known property. It wasn't. And then we had James Gunn come in and make it, I would say, one of the most popular properties Marvel has.
We also have David Koepp, Jurassic Park screenwriter, who is going to write the script for Blackhawk. And I guess at that point, they're going to decide whether or not Steven Spielberg is going to pick up the director reins. There are a lot of possibilities with this movie because there is no definite Blackhawk run. There's the Howard Chaykin run of the 1980s that a lot of people love. But the Blackhawks are basically guys in black jackets in their planes with a little hawk symbol. So again, this is a world that Steven Spielberg could do a superhero movie without doing a superhero movie.
Interesting.
Which is very interesting. And this is something that I never thought we would actually see. Steven Spielberg is one of the great directors that I thought would never take on a comic book superhero property.
I have a question. Are the members of the Blackhawks different enough and have their own distinct personalities enough so that it's kind of, you know, more Guardians-y than, let's say, the Nova Corps, which is a little bit more uniform?
In the comics, they're more like the Nova Corps. They basically are interchangeable. It depends on the run. Some runs, they're more distinct. Some runs, there aren't. But I will counter that argument with the Guardians of the Galaxy were not distinct until about 2005. So before then, everybody, Drax wasn't even part of the Guardians. Made your brain explode.
And Peter Quill is very different in the comics.
Yes, he's more like Green Lantern in the comic books than he is. But it's very interesting because there's a lot of different possibilities. Blackhawk, you could set it in the modern day. You could leave it in World War II. You could make this a Cold War movie. It's basically, I think...
Ooh, Cold War movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you in or out on Blackhawks on Steven Spielberg?
I'm in on most superhero movies. And I'm in on a lot of Spielberg, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I say this a lot, but I saw Suicide Squad. I'll see this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think that's a good little litmus test. Hey, if you saw Suicide Squad, I think you can
I'll
go
see this.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm actually hopeful that he directs. I would like him to see this direct, especially because imagine the flavors of Indiana Jones in a superhero movie. I think that would be really great. I predict that he won't direct, though.
Because
is my
he's
prediction.
Too busy?
Or he's too busy,
or too expensive,
or he just finally decides that he doesn't want to do a superhero movie. I don't know. He's Steven Spielberg, the auteur of directors. So let us know out there on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, what you think about the possibility of Steven Spielberg directing a Blackhawks DC Comics movie. Want to hear your thoughts.